Most people never received real financial education. They inherited money advice from parents, teachers, and television personalities who were repeating ideas they heard decades ago. The problem is that outdated advice still sounds smart even when the economy has completely changed. My name is Ben, and I explain personal finance using three different versions of myself to show you how different types of people make decisions based on their current financial situation. Broke Ben follows every old financial cliche without questioning it. He repeats phrases like, renting is throwing money away, and credit cards are evil because he heard them growing up. He never stops to ask whether the math actually supports those beliefs. Budget Ben approaches money differently. He understands that financial advice should adapt to the current economy, not stay frozen in the past. He studies numbers instead of blindly trusting emotional opinions. Baller Ben realizes the financial industry benefits when people stay confused. Complex advice keeps average people dependent on banks, lenders, and expensive professionals. Simplicity is often more powerful than complexity. The average American now carries more debt than savings, despite earning more income than previous generations. Paychecks increased, but financial stress increased too. Something about the traditional advice clearly stopped working. This video breaks down money, lies that millions of people still believe in 2026. Some sound harmless. Others quietly destroy wealth over decades without people realizing it. The first lie begins with one of the most repeated phrases in America. Renting is throwing money away. Entire generations grew up believing homeownership automatically guaranteed financial success. Broke Ben believes buying a house instantly makes him wealthy. He sees a giant mortgage as a symbol of adulthood and success. The bigger the house payment, the more successful he feels. Budget Ben understands that a mortgage payment is not the same as building wealth. In the early years of a 30-year loan, most of the payment goes directly to bank interest. Very little actually builds equity. Baller Ben studies the full cost of ownership before buying property. He calculates taxes, insurance, repairs, maintenance, closing costs, and lost investment opportunities from the down payment. He knows real estate decisions should be based on math, not emotion. In many major cities, homeowners now spend dramatically more per month than renters. High interest rates made monthly mortgage payments explode. Meanwhile, renters often keep flexibility and lower financial risk. Broke Ben ignores all those hidden expenses. When the water heater breaks or the roof leaks, he panics and reaches for a credit card. He thought owning a home would automatically make life cheaper. Budget Ben understands that renting provides real advantages. There are no surprise repair bills, no property taxes, and no expensive maintenance emergencies. Flexibility also matters in an uncertain economy. Baller Ben knows buying can absolutely make sense in certain markets. Cities with lower prices and stable demand may favor ownership long term, but he refuses to treat homeownership like a universal rule. The second lie tells people they need to track every penny. Financial gurus often promote massive spreadsheets with dozens of spending categories. Most people quit those systems within weeks. Broke Ben starts complicated budgets every January. He color codes categories, downloads apps, and tracks every coffee purchase for a few days. By February, the system completely falls apart. Budget Ben focuses on the big picture instead of obsessing over tiny purchases. He understands that housing, transportation, and debt payments control most financial outcomes. Small expenses matter far less than major decisions. Baller Ben automates nearly everything. Investments happen automatically, savings happen automatically, and bills get paid automatically. He removes emotions and daily decision-making from the process. Many people spend hours worrying about $10 purchases while ignoring that rent consumes half their income. That imbalance destroys far more wealth than occasional coffee runs. The biggest expenses deserve the biggest attention. Budget Ben follows a simple conscious spending plan. Fixed costs stay controlled, investments stay automatic, savings continue growing, and leftover money becomes guilt-free spending. 4 categories replace 47 stressful ones. Broke Ben thinks budgeting means punishment. He constantly feels guilty every time he spends money on something enjoyable. Eventually, frustration causes him to abandon the entire system. Baller Ben sees automation as freedom. Once the important financial decisions happen automatically, He spends less time thinking about money every day. Simplicity reduces stress while improving consistency. The third lie claims tiny sacrifices create massive wealth. Financial media loves telling people to stop buying coffee if they want to become rich. The advice sounds clever, but ignores reality. Broke Ben hears this advice and assumes he must eliminate every enjoyable purchase. He cuts small comforts for a few weeks and becomes miserable. Eventually, he binge spends out of frustration. Budget Ben understands the real issue is not occasional coffee purchases. Housing costs, healthcare expenses, student loans, and car payments move the financial needle far more. Structural expenses matter most. Even aggressively cutting $200 a month only creates limited long-term impact. One salary negotiation or smarter car purchase could outperform years of tiny sacrifices. Income growth changes lives faster than deprivation. Baller Ben spends heavily on things he truly values. He may pay for convenience, travel, or experiences that improve his life. But he cuts ruthlessly on purchases that add no real happiness. The problem with deprivation-based finance is behavioral exhaustion. Humans are not robots. Constant restriction eventually creates burnout and emotional spending. Budget Ben builds a lifestyle he can realistically maintain for decades. He avoids systems based on perfection because perfection eventually fails. Sustainability matters more than temporary intensity. The fourth lie teaches people to fear credit cards entirely. Credit card debt is absolutely dangerous when misused. But avoiding credit cards completely can also create financial disadvantages. Broke Ben treats credit cards like free money. He buys clothes, electronics, and vacations without thinking about interest rates. Minimum payments slowly trap him in expensive debt cycles. Budget Ben uses credit cards carefully and pays the balance in full every month. Interest never accumulates because autopay handles everything automatically. The card becomes a tool instead of a trap. Baller Ben takes advantage of reward systems strategically. Cashback, travel points, purchase protection, and warranty extensions create thousands of dollars in value over time. The banks never collect interest from him. Credit scores now affect far more than borrowing money. Landlords, lenders, insurers, and even some employers examine credit history. A strong score can save enormous amounts over a lifetime. Broke Ben ignores due dates constantly. Late fees pile up while interest compounds at nearly 24%. The debt grows faster than he can mentally process. Budget Ben understands the real secret of credit cards. The goal is never carrying a balance. Responsible users exploit the system instead of becoming exploited by it. The fifth lie tells people they need to find the next hot stock. Social media constantly glorifies overnight investing success stories. Very few people openly discuss their losses. Broke Ben watches influencers brag about risky trades and assumes investing should feel exciting. He jumps into trends without understanding what he owns. Emotional decisions control every move. Budget Ben prefers consistent investing into diversified index funds. He understands that boring strategies historically outperform most amateur traders. Patience beats excitement in investing. Baller Ben understands the incredible power of compounding. The market does not need perfection to create wealth over long periods. Consistency over decades becomes unbelievably powerful. Many investors panic during market crashes and sell at the worst possible moment. Fear destroys years of progress in just a few emotional decisions. The biggest enemy is often human psychology. Budget Ben keeps investing during downturns, even when headlines look terrifying. He knows market declines are temporary, but long-term investing is permanent. Discipline matters more than predictions. Baller Ben ignores daily market noise almost entirely. He focuses on decades, not weeks. Time in the market consistently beats trying to perfectly time the market. The sixth lie says everyone needs a financial advisor. Many advisors charge around 1% annually on managed assets. That small percentage quietly consumes enormous wealth over time. Broke Ben assumes complicated financial language means someone must be smarter than him. He becomes intimidated and hands over control without understanding the fees involved. Confusion creates dependence. Budget Ben realizes basic investing is not actually complicated. He contributes to retirement accounts, buys low-cost index funds, and automates the process. Simple systems often outperform expensive complexity. Over decades, fee differences become massive because of compounding. A seemingly tiny 1% fee can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Most people underestimate this dramatically. Baller Ben only seeks professional advice for genuinely complex situations. Business ownership, estate planning, and advanced tax strategies may justify expert help, but he prefers flat fees instead of percentage-based management. The financial industry often profits by making money feel mysterious. Complicated terminology creates fear and confusion for average people. Simplicity rarely generates as much profit for institutions. The seventh lie may sound the most inspirational. Follow your passion and the money will follow. Millions of people were taught this advice growing up. Broke Ben quit stable jobs chasing unrealistic dreams with no financial plan. He assumes passion alone guarantees success. When money problems appear, frustration quickly replaces excitement. Budget Ben takes a more practical approach. He develops skills that employers and customers actually value. Income stability creates freedom and reduces stress. Baller Ben understands that passion often follows competence. Becoming highly skilled at something creates confidence, recognition, and financial rewards. Success itself can generate passion over time. Instead of asking only, "What do I love?" smart people ask better questions. What skills can improve? What problems can be solved? What will people consistently pay for? Once financial stability exists, exploring passions becomes far less risky. Money creates breathing room and flexibility. Survival pressure no longer controls every decision. Broke Ben constantly searches for shortcuts and magical solutions. He wants wealth without patience, discipline, or long-term thinking. That mindset keeps him trapped financially. Budget Ben focuses on controllable fundamentals. He spends less than he earns, avoids destructive debt, and consistently invests over time. The process looks boring but produces results. Baller Ben understands wealth usually comes from a few major decisions repeated consistently. Housing choices, transportation costs, investing habits, and career growth matter far more than tiny daily purchases. Big moves create big outcomes. These money lies survive because they sound emotionally comforting. They spread through families, schools, and social media until people stop questioning them. Repetition creates the illusion of truth. Real wealth building in 2026 is surprisingly simple. Automate saving, invest consistently, grow valuable skills, and make smart decisions on the expenses that truly matter. Broke Ben chases appearances, Budget Ben builds stability, and Baller Ben quietly builds freedom. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about these money lies from the view of 3 different versions of myself. Remember that you have the majority control over your emotions and decisions when it comes to your finances. Subscribe for more helpful money tips from the money faces of Ben.